What's the darkest family secret you've ever uncovered? I was 16 when I found out my grandfather wasn't actually my grandfather. It started with a history project. We had to make a family tree, so I asked my mom for some old documents and photos. She gave me a shoebox full of old pictures, birth certificates, and handwritten notes saying, use whatever you need, just put everything back. I was flipping through looking for anything interesting when I noticed something weird. My mom's birth certificate listed a father I didn't recognize. Not my grandpa. A completely different name. At first I thought it was a mistake, maybe a typo. So I dug deeper, and that's when I found a marriage certificate. My grandma had been married before, something no one had ever mentioned, and the man she was married to was my mom's real dad. Not my grandfather. Confused, I went to my mom and asked who was his name on the birth certificate. Her face went pale. She took a deep breath and said, "Where did you see that name?" I showed her the papers, and she just sat there staring at them. Then finally, she told me the truth. My grandma's first husband, my mom's biological father, was an abusive, violent man. When my mom was little, my grandma left him and ran as far as she could. He never tried to find them, never reached out. He just disappeared from their lives. A few years later, my grandma remarried to the man I had always known as my grandfather. He stepped in, raised my mom as his own, and no one ever spoke about the other guy again. I had no idea, none. My whole life I thought my grandpa was my mom's dad. I thought I knew our family history. But there was this entire, dark chapter that had been completely erased. And the scariest part, when I asked my mom what happened to her biological father, she just shook her head and said, "We don't ask about him.